Good morning, fearfully and wonderfully made. My name is Linnea Ann, aka Mimi, aka Miss Blobfish, and welcome to my YouTube channel and Vlogmas Day 2, aka this video you are watching right to the now. So what are we talking about for Vlogmas Day 2? Well, today we're talking about Out of My Mind. I watched this last month and I could not stop thinking about it, so I made this video for you today. It's about, so just note, there's spoilers. There's a lot of spoilers. I watched it on Disney Plus, and it's about a girl with cerebral palsy. Sorry, I struggle with words sometimes. But it's about her having a voice and wanting to be heard. And so why is that so important to me? Why is this movie so important to me? I don't have cerebral palsy. Clearly I don't have problems with my muscles or my legs or talking. But here's the thing. I do. I know. You're like, but you don't. You're clearly talking. You're clearly moving. Yes, but I'm autistic. And you're probably thinking, what does your autism have to do with communicating? What does your autism have to do with not having a voice? Sometimes it can go both ways, literally, and it can go without being seen or heard. You guys have to remember, not for the ones that, well, you don't have to remember anything, but not everybody lives in a happy household. Not everybody gets their voice heard. Even though they talk, they speak, their voice doesn't always get heard. Getting raised in a house where I didn't get my diagnosis of autism until I was 15, my emotions were hard to communicate. I would get so overwhelmed by everything around me that I would just feel trapped, not being heard, having a physical voice, but not being heard. If you can't imagine that, you can't understand me. But if you can imagine that, and if you've experienced that, then you should have a comprehension of what I'm trying to say. This movie felt like the best way to describe that, what I was going through as a kid. Even though I didn't have the same condition, but just wanting to be heard. Just wanting to be listened to. Also, you guys are probably also saying, but you have a physical voice. There is times where I get so overwhelmed sensory-wise from so much input coming in, or my own brain, because my brain is so creative that I have like 6 or 7 worlds going on in my head at once. And sometimes I wake up into 10. I wake up in the morning and I have like extra ones going through my head. Some of you can understand what I'm saying. Some of you have no clue. You have no understand what I'm talking about. And that's okay. You don't have to understand it, but I'm still going to explain it to you, and I'm still going to share it with you. to be so overwhelmed that even my own voice can't be heard. I know we're talking about out of my mind, but the best way I can describe this to you is Encanto. There's a character in Encanto called Dolores. And Dolores has an ability to hear long distances. If you pay attention to her, you'll notice that when she claps, she goes like this in the movies. And when she talks very quietly. It's not because she can't talk louder. It's because if she talks louder, her ears hurt. She hears everything. Everything. Come on, a pin drop from a mile away. Can you imagine that? I'm sure you can't. But the best way I can describe being overwhelmed by your own senses to the point that you can't even use your voice because your voice hurts your own ears. That's the best thing I could describe. The best way I can describe is Dolores. So I may not know what it means to not have, I may not know what it's like to not have a physical voice, but I know what it's like to not be seen. It's like to not be heard. And I know what it's like to have your senses so overwhelming that you can't speak. And that's why I relate to Out of My Mind. She found her voice and she wanted to turn it off because she thought she was she just couldn't handle it at one point. The idea of why speak if nobody's going to listen. That's a hard thing to deal with. So yeah, I relate to the movie, not the way other people might relate to it, but I get it and I understand it. I've never read the book. I bet it's good. If you want to let me know if you read the book Out of My Mind. If you ever read it, let me know. Was it good? And who's the author of it? Because I actually don't know who the author of that book is. So, anyways, with that said, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you. May he be gracious to you. May he walk you down the narrow path and be with you. May his peace go as you go. Jesus loves you, my friends, and my beautiful sparkles. And I do too. Sparkle on, my beautiful and wonderful sparkles.